Hi everyone, and welcome to another review from Class 47 Peter. And in today's review we're going to be having a look at a piece of rolling stock for a change, instead of looking at locomotives all the time. And today we're going to be having a look at the Hornby Super Detail DVT, which stands for Driving Van Trailer, in the Virgin Trains livery. Now recently I went on holiday to Cornwall and I picked this model up from Kernow Model Rail Centre, as I mentioned in the last review, which I reviewed the Hornby Class 87. I picked the Hornby Class 87 up along with this model and a couple of Virgin Trains livery Mark 3s. And this particular model, it's a release that's been released this year. It's been out for a few months or so now, but I didn't get one immediately. But I've got one now in the shop along with the 87. I thought I had to get myself a DVT and of course some Mark 3s, and so that's what I've done. And I remember seeing these Virgin Trains livery DVTs a lot as a kid, back in the late 90s and early 2000s, when the Virgin Train Operating Company first came around. And this of course was the livery that they first ran in, before they later got repainted into the livery that it is today. And I've always wanted a DVT, I'll be honest, and so now I've finally got one. But anyway, enough with the talk, let's get this model open, because this model hasn't been out the box yet. It's been in here for, crikey, a week or so now, and I haven't taken it out of the box to even look at it, let alone run it. So I'm very excited about this, to be finally opening this model up. Okay, so we'll just open the box and we'll just slide out the plastic packaging like so, which of course contains the model. So I put the empty box to one side and we come across these instructions, which I wasn't expecting to see. So this talks to you about fitting, well, removing the body, fitting a DCC ready decoder, because this model does have working lights. It's not motorised, because the DVTs were not motorised in real life, of course, meaning they couldn't work under their own power, obviously. But you can fit a decoder in this, especially because this model does have working lights. And it also talks to you about fitting the vacuum pipes, although to be honest it looks like they've already been fitted on the model by the factory, which is nice because that will save me a bit of time. So I'll put the instructions to one side and I'll put those in the folder where I keep all my instructions later on. So then I'll lift up the box flap to take away that cellophane sheet, and we'll lift out the model. We'll put the rest of the packaging to one side and we can have a look at the DVT. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the weight. Now I don't normally talk about the weight in these rolling stock reviews. Often the rolling stock don't have much weight in them, because they are at the end of the day made to just be pulled around the layout by locomotives. But there is actually a fair bit of weight in this model. It's not too heavy, again because it's a piece of rolling stock. In this case it's coupled behind the Mark 3s, being pulled around by a locomotive. But you can have the locomotive either pulling the train with this at the back, or having the loco pushing the train with this basically at the front, basically. So there is a little bit of weight in this, but it's not too heavy, which is what we want really. Now we move on to the detail. So first of all we have metal buffers, and they are sprung, as you can see. So if you like sprung buffers, then they'll keep you happy. I don't have much care for sprung buffers, but they're there. But they are made out of metal though, which is nice. And they are nice looking buffers. Then at the front we have a separately fitted screw link coupling, as you can see there, or chain link coupling I suppose you could call it. Then of course we have the vacuum and air pipes there, as well as this jumper cable there. They've already been fitted for you, which is nice that they've done that. because it saves you time from having to do it yourself. And there is some nice detail on the buffer beam there as well. I really do love the front profile of the DVT. I mean, you've got the grill at the front there with some lovely rivet detail on. As you can see, you've got the lights at the front there, which they do light up on the model. And there's even a few rivets around the light clusters as well. Obviously you've got the yellow paint at the front there. We also have windows. We have rivets around the windows there on the frames, as you can see, as well as glazing in the cab windows and separately fitted window wipers. And just look at the interior. We have seats in there, and I just love that the interior is painted blue on this, and the seats are painted black. That really does look nice. And it does look like as well that the controls in there have been painted as well, as you can just about make out on the camera. It is hard to focus in on the camera, but there is detail there and it has been painted, and that is really, really nice. We've also got rivets on the side window frames there as well, and glazing on this side window here as well. Separately fitted handrails by the door there, and the number of the DVT, which this number is 82141, crisply printed on the sides. And also look at this. We also have, I mean, it is hard to tell, I'll be honest, with my giant finger in the way, so I'll get out a cocktail stick for you. But we do have an opening door. Just look at that. And that is a really nice feature, that is. Just get a close-up shot there of the treads with the rivet detail on them, and just look at that. And that's been painted as well. And there's some nice door handles there as well that have been painted, and glazing in the door there on the window. And the crisply printed warning signs there as well. We've also got glazing in the other doors as well on the DVT, the guards compartment door. Again, I'm guessing that's what it would be for. And these doors here as well for the luggage. Glazing in those, as well as glazing in this window here as well. And I love the silver trim there around the window there, that really does look nice. On the end of the guards compartment door we have, again, more separately fitted handrails. We also have the orange cantrail running around on the top of the DVT there, and that looks really nice. The roof isn't too interesting to look at, but then that's what it pretty much looks like in real life anyway. But you do have an air vent there on the top, which does look nice, and there is some nice detail on that as well. But apart from that, not much to say about the roof, to be honest. We have very nice detail on the bogies. We have the springs and the axle boxes there, as you can see. We also have some footsteps there as well, by the guards compartment door, just under there. And they look nice. And lots of latches and rivet details there on the underframe, as well as that little bit of detail there, which I'm not 100% certain what that is or what it's for. Looks like a handle of some sort, but I'm sure if anybody knows they'll put the comments below. But it's there and separately fitted and painted, and that does look really nice. Moving to the back of the DVT, we have we have some warning signs there at the top, crisply printed. Rivets on the ends of the corridor gangway. Painted doors on the inside of the gangway, as well as glazing in those as well. And that is just fantastic. We have some more separately fitted detail on the ends just here, where I'm pointing the cocktail stick to, and that looks really nice. And of course we do have a NEM socket to fit a coupling of your choice in there. Obviously this is not the slim tension lock coupling, but you can fit one in if you wanted to. And on the back of the DVT we also have metal buffers, although interestingly the ones at the front are sprung loaded, the ones at the back are not. So I'm not too sure why the back ones are sprung and the front ones are. I think, you know, it would have been better if either both buffers on either end would have been sprung loaded, or the buffers on the front and on the back were not sprung loaded. So it's a bit odd that the ones at the front and then the ones at the back are, well, the ones at the front are sprung loaded and the ones at the back are not. That is a little bit strange, but That's just a small minor niggle thing, I'll be honest. And now we move on to the livery application, and the livery on this DVT is absolutely stunning. A very nice even coat of paint with the correct shades of red and the grey. Very nice and evenly applied, and again the correct shades as well. And this is a very classic livery. I mean, this livery, I saw this a lot in my childhood days, in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I really do love this livery. You know, it really does make this model stand out. And it also makes them stand out in real life, of course, whether it's on coaches or locomotives or even on these DVTs. It really does look stunning to look at. And I also love the white lines there on the ends of the DVT, which are also crisply printed on, and you know, they just look stunning. And we've also got the Virgin Trains logo as well, crisply printed on both sides of the DVT. And at the front of the DVT, the ends here on the front, down the sides, they're both painted white. Just like on the real DVTs in the Virgin Trains livery, they were painted white as well. And so I love that they've been replicated on the model. And I do love that these bits down the bottom have been painted silver. You know, that really does look superb, in my opinion. And moving on to the other side of the model, the detail is exactly the same as on the other side. So there's no detail differences there at all. And again, superb and beautiful livery, and very nice and evenly and finely applied. So now we have the DVT running around the layout with the Virgin Mark IIIs being propelled by the Class 87. I mean, this is exactly the sort of train I love to see running on the layout. You can also see the working lights on the model, so as you can see, the lights up white coming towards you. So now I'm going to show you the lights in the DVT when it's coming away from you. Basically when it's going in the opposite direction, being pulled by the Class 87 around the layouts. I know it's wrong line running, but I'm just showing you the lights on the other end. The tail lights, that is, which they are, of course, are red. As you can just about see. I'll get another shot of those lights. I absolutely love this train to bits. There you can just about see the tail lights there on the DVT. So overall then, the Hornby DVT, it's a stunning model. I mean, I will ignore the fact that the buffers on the front on this end are sprung loaded and the ones here are not. That's just a small niggle thing, because the amount of detail this model has, it's smooth running, it's working lights, etc. They're just two strong points for it, really, for me to simply write the model down just for the sake of buffers on one end being sprung and the other ones on the other end not being sprung. Because, you know, these Hornby DVTs, they really are superb. And if you're going to have a train like this on the lathe, then you've got to get yourself a DVT. And you won't be disappointed either if you do get one of these DVTs. You know, they are just... So, I'm going to rate the DVT a 10 out of 10. Why not? It deserves that score, in my opinion. So that's been Class 47 Peter reviewing the Hornby DVT in Virgin Trains livery. Thank you for watching this review. I'll see you again soon for the next video. Not sure what we'll be reviewing next time, but until then, subscribe to the channel, check out other videos, and please do keep showing your support for this channel. Take care.